All right, today is October 26th, 2022, and my name is Amy, and I am here with my cousin John. Say hi, John.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, we're here to discuss some of our stories with our own personal spiritual journey, and we were going to keep it more in the family to pass on, to the future generations, but we had discussed sharing it with the world in an attempt to maybe help someone who needs it. And, John and I might be cousins, but we live in different states and over the years hadn't spent that much time together. And about, I don't know, what is it, 15, 17? How long has it been with Miles, John?
It's going to be coming on 14 years.
Yeah, so unfortunately, 14 years ago, John's middle child, his oldest son, Miles, unexpectedly passed away. And my family and I, we made the trip to pay our respects. And again, I hadn't really known John personally. He was my cousin, but hadn't spent that time together to get to know him. And we went to the wake, and it was beautifully done. A lot of touching speeches were made, and a lot of people paid their respects. And before all this had occurred, I had lived my life, getting messages from people past, but I didn't really know what to do with it. And I had sat through the entire service for Miles. And as we were getting up to leave, I remember getting this like tugging feeling like, oh my goodness, like he's here and he has messages. And I felt it to be extremely inappropriate to tell you this, at his wake, because we hadn't been close. So I remember sitting down with my grandmother, and she said, oh no, you got to talk to him. You got to talk to him. So, just to get to the end of it, eventually my mom and my grandmother had made their way to you, just, telling them that I was getting messages from your son. And about 8 days later, we sat down and talked, and I did what I call my first real reading. And I was able to connect with Miles and you, and it was a beautiful thing. And you actually helped me on my own journey. You were the start of it, you and Miles.
And you opened up this wonderful portal, if I could say that. I mean, like a premise of all this stuff. Like I wouldn't say I wouldn't go as far as say I was a non-believer, because I mean, I wasn't really. I think, like, let's just say the jury was out on all this stuff. I didn't know whether any of that stuff was real or.
Right.
I'm talking about. I've learned about scientific, matter can't be created or destroyed. It just changes, and energies, don't really get destroyed. It just changes. That's all scientific stuff. So
right.
I didn't, I didn't, know about what happened when people passed. I wasn't sure about all that. When I haven't seen Amy, I haven't seen you since all the kids, when you guys were all kids, when we came rolling up back in the early 80s
right.
in Massachusetts, coming back from a camping trip, and so I didn't even,
we didn't know each other.
We didn't know each other, so
we were very distant.
We weren't really, I haven't seen you for a long time, and then you guys came to the wake, and my version of the story is, this is how I remember it, and everybody's realities are different, I know that's just how it is, but I was outside.
Yep.
Some guys came from the city, and I think I was saying goodbye to them or something,
yeah.
And your mother came up to me, and she had this like uneasiness about her, like she wasn't really certain if that was such a great idea for some reason. I didn't know then what it was,
right.
but she had some uneasiness to her. And then she said, and then along comes this beautiful woman next to her. And she says, do you remember Amy? And I go, oh my goodness, Amy, wow, you're a woman now. I mean, I haven't seen you since you were like a little kid, swimming in the pool. And my cousin, who's your mother, Carol Ann, said, Amy wants to tell you something. And I said, well, and then you look pretty,
I was shaking.
I don't know, for nervous. I guess nervous. I don't know, for lack of a better word. You seem, you didn't seem too secure about, you didn't know. I guess I know now. You didn't know how I was going to take it. So you kind of sheepishly said to me, I said, "Hi, Amy, how you doing?" And you said, I said, "What's going on?" She said, "I talked to the dead. Would you be open to talk to me about it?" And I was like, I just paused for a second, and I just said, "Yeah, sure, if you want." And then all that went away. And then you said, "Well, it was Miles passed November. Miles was born November 9th. He passed November 16th, and then so Thanksgiving is coming in a week." And Amy said to me, "Why don't you come up to the house in Massachusetts and we'll talk about it." So now here we go with the story. I'm going to just jump right in now. So I said okay, and they left and continued with the wake, and then the next day I think was the burial, and then Thanksgiving is starting to roll around now. I really had no way of going up there. I had a company truck that I couldn't leave the city of New York City with, and I couldn't take it out of state. So I really didn't know how I was going to get up there, and I wasn't really all doing that good. I just lost a son, and it's pretty much besides myself. And I got an invitation to go to a memorial breakfast, Thanksgiving. I got it the day before. And so these people that I know go to a Thanksgiving. A good friend of mine, Nancy Dugan, goes to this memorial breakfast every Thanksgiving with friends of hers who's, I think her brother passed and a cousin, guys that died young, and they have this memorial breakfast. And they heard about what Miles was, and they said, "Well, Nancy, why don't you bring John to the breakfast?" So she said, "Tomorrow is Thanksgiving. What are you doing?" I go, "No, I don't really have any plans." And so she said, "Come to the breakfast." So I said, "Okay." So I went to the breakfast, and Polish. They were Polish. They were from Poland, and their ancestry, and they had all this great food. I mean, tons of food, potatoes, sausage. It was just like a smorgasbord of stuff. And the woman that was running, that was in her house that had this memorial breakfast, said to me, "So what are you doing this weekend?" And I said to her, "Well, I'm supposed to be going up to Massachusetts tomorrow, but I'm not really sure how I'm going to get up there." And she goes, "Oh, you're going to Massachusetts tomorrow?" She says, "I'm going to Massachusetts tomorrow." I said, "Oh, really?" And then she said, "Well, where in Massachusetts?" I said, "I'm going to by Worcester." She goes, "Oh, I'm going up to Worcester tomorrow." I said, "Yeah, but I said." She says, I said, "Well, I got to be home by Sunday because I got to go to work Monday." And she goes, "Oh, I got to be home Sunday too." She goes, "How about if you meet me here in the morning? We'll drive up. I'll drop you off, and then Sunday I'll pick you up and take you back." And that was right in my hometown where I was living, because her house was just minutes from where I was living at the time in Hicksville, Long Island. And so I said, first I said, "Thank you, God." I don't know who believes in God, if it doesn't, but I certainly do.
I do too.
And so I said, "Thank you, God." And then the next morning I went there, and she had the car loaded with leftovers from the breakfast yesterday, and we drove to Massachusetts, and we ate, and we had coffee, and I got to Amy's house, and we had the reading, and I mentioned that, and Amy said, that was all Miles. That Miles was in the car ride up with us, and he set that whole thing up. And I would have to say I truly believe that because, I don't know, I have to tell you, I don't know what the odds are of any of that stuff. I don't know. It's just, this stuff is, I hate that saying, you can't make this stuff up, but, I guess you could, but I certainly did. And then that's pretty much where my journey started with all this. And the stories just, I don't know if they get better and better, but, there's a saying a good friend of mine says, and I like to repeat it. He says, the more you believe, the more you get to witness. And I personally find that true. So, the more these stories happen, the more these incidents occur in my life, the more I believe, and then, and that's how I live my life today.
I think that's great. That touched my heart listening to that. And I think, with you saying that, it's almost healing in itself.
Yeah.
We all.
It's really all about keeping an open heart and trying to be loving in spite of what's happening, in spite of what your mind tells you what should be going on now and what not should be going on, and the realities. Boba Fett said it best. He said, reality doesn't really care what you think.
No, that's right. That's right.
Good old Boba Fett.
That's right.
So, maybe I wouldn't have been on this path if Amy came up to me outside my son's wake and told me that she speaks to the dead, and I'd say, are you serious right now with this? I got a kid in the coffin, and you want to talk to me about this stuff right now, and blah 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 blah, right?
Oh, and that's what I was.
It didn't go that way. I know, and that's probably what you were thinking. It might go that way because, even if it did go that way, it wouldn't be anybody's fault or anything. It might have been a knee jerk answer to somebody that would say that to you, but I through the grace of the universe and the spirits out there, I didn't say that.
No.
And then I have found out not too long ago through Patrick, who's Amy's husband, that it was an 8-hour session. I don't remember being an 8-hour session, but I was in the twilight zone then, and like I am now, so I would just have to believe him.
Yeah, it was. It was long, and that was also, like I said, my first reading, and never ever before had I ever experienced what I did at Miles's wake, and I look at him as the catalyst to put us on our path forward. He brought us together.
Yes, I think I don't know. I just it's wonderful to hear that.
And I got to give when you bring up talking to the men in the parking lot, I have that memory ingrained in my brain. Mm-hmm. Because I was literally in the hallway before that talking to my grandma and my mom, mm-hmm. like, oh my God, I can't do this. How inappropriate. But it was, it was just so powerful. Like I felt nauseous. I felt physically sick that if I got in the car to go home, I was going to get sick if I didn't talk to you.
But, thinking about it now and delving into this and reflecting on it, there was something going on there. Obviously now right. that we know in hindsight, but at that time, it was a powerful moment.
It was.
It was for both of us.
I
don't know why those words came out of my mouth. Oh, sure, yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
but they did, and I'm grateful for that.
And then your trip up, it was like a breeze for you to come get dropped off here. You went.
Forget it. I didn't do anything. It was like a limousine. It was like an expensive limousine ride. Expensive. That's fair. I got fed. Yep. I had great company. She had a beautiful car. We were traveling. We had some laughs, and I got dropped off right at the house. And I got picked up right at the house, like a celebrity, like Uncle Angelo would say. That's the closest you're going to get to Hollywood.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what it was like. And I was lifted up and taken, and I was cared for, and there's a message in there too about being cared for. You know.
Yeah.
Being open to be cared for. You know, and not sabotage and stuff like that. And it all comes back to, you know, trying to be open.
You're right, 100%.
And loving, you know, and keep your heart open, right?
I think that's the most important part about it.
It's very important, I find. You know, not easier said than done. You know, we got the talk and then we got the walk,
but I got to give
as long as we're aware of it, I think that's the beginning of it all.
But I think
once you're aware of something, then you're responsible for it. You know what I mean?
Right, and I think you're one that definitely walks the walk, because you have you're incredible with how you use such, I'm sure, the most difficult time in your life to help other people. You know, and you do it in such a graceful way and in such a loving way that I've watched you over the years inspire other people. And it really you bring a lot of joy to the world, John. And I love how you speak to people. I love how you drop anything to help a stranger. And, you know, you don't let tragedy bring you down. Everyone has their moments, but you use it for the good. And I'm very proud of you. I really am.
I appreciate you saying that. Thank you very, very much. And those are all gifts. And I view them as gifts, and I'm grateful for all of that.
Well, there's a lot of good to be done in the world, and you know, we hope we can keep doing it.
And this is one of my favorite stories: the Miles train story. Well, I have another story before the train story.
Well, let's hear the Miles train story.
You want to do the train story? All right. So Amy's telling me that it was pretty simple request, you know, and it's not like all so far-fetched or anything. I mean, anybody who knew us, which then again, remember, Amy really didn't know us. I mean, we were disconnected for years and years and years. So she said to me, Miles wants his train set up. So that was always been a big thing between me and Miles, setting up the trains. When he was old enough, we picked up a set of a Lionel trains, a G gauge train, pretty good sized train set, and we used to set up the trains. And every year we'd buy different cars or different accessories, different structures to put around the track, and we'd set up the train, you know, a traditional train set. So I said, okay. So I wasn't living at home anymore. Me and my wife were estranged. We were divorced, and the train set was at the house, and I just didn't go to the house anymore. And I didn't really know how I was going to get the train set either. Just like I didn't really know how I was going to get up to Massachusetts for the reading. So I told Megan was the oldest daughter, my daughter, and I said, Megan, you know, I'd like to get the trains. Miles wants the train set up, and I'd like to get the trains from the house. So now let's get the timeline right. So we're up at the house. We're up in Auburn, really, but I'd say Worcester. But we're in Auburn, Massachusetts, the day after Thanksgiving, Friday, and I think I'm there till Sunday. Like I said, she picked me up. So somewhere in between that time. So now Megan calls me. It's around December 21st. She said, Mom's going to be out Christmas shopping or going to a company Christmas party, something like that. Nobody's going to be at the house. Why don't you come and go pick up the train set? Come over tonight. Come over and pick up the train set. I said, okay, I'll come pick up. I think it was the day before. So I said, okay. So I went over. I picked up the train set. The basement was flooded. The train set was in water. It was wet. It was kind of on the floor. And so I got the train set home. So now it's like that night, about the 21st, I let it dry up. The next day, the 22nd, I oil the trains up. I dry them all off. I let it sit. The next day, the 23rd, I set the track up. I put the trains on the track. Now I haven't talked to you, Amy, since I guess that Sunday of November, whatever day that was. Mm-hmm. So now it's almost a month later. It's like 2 days before Christmas. It's just December 23rd. I haven't talked to you since then, since the Thanksgiving weekend. And so I get the trains on the track. I turn the trains on. The trains go around the track once, and the phone rings. And I look at the phone, and it's you calling me. And I'm like, oh, all right. So I pick up the phone, and you don't say hello, you don't say anything. You just say, Miles is dancing around the trains right now. That's what you said to me. And I was like, okay, yeah. I said, they just went around the track once, just now. I just turned them on.
Wow.
And I love that story.
Yeah, he's an actor.
Everybody loves that story.
Yeah, that's a nice story.
It's a good story. And then, this is what you told me at that reading. You kept telling me that I see a dinosaur in black. I see a dinosaur in black. Miles keeps showing me a dinosaur in black. A dinosaur. I said, I don't know. I bought him dinosaurs when he was a kid. I don't know I don't really know what that's all about. I don't know nothing. That just came and went. Mm-hmm. But you mentioned it during the reading. You mentioned it, I would have to say, at least 3 times to me. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you recall how many times, but it was definitely more than, it was definitely 3 times.
Okay.
It came up in the reading about this dinosaur thing. So the last day I seen Miles was, election day, the day before election day. And he came to my house, and I was living in Queens at the time, in Elecchester, in Flushing, and I didn't know then, but he was living out. He was roaming the streets with his girlfriend. He was hanging out in New York City or something. And he comes in, and he rings the doorbell, and I said, hello. I didn't really get visitors there anyway. And I go, who is it? And he said, it's the fruit of your loin. I said, who? He goes, it's the fruit. I go, Miles? He goes, yeah. He comes in. He's been knocking around on the streets of New York City for a couple of days. He comes in. He has this gigantic leather jacket on. It's like XXX. And he walks in and he goes, I got this for you, Dad. I got this jacket. I go, all right, it's like XXX leather jacket. I still have it. And so I just said, all right, Miles doing what Miles does, so I thanked him, and I hung the jacket in my closet, and that was pretty much the end of it. And then the next day I took him home, and that's it. And then Miles passed away, and then he passed away. It was his birthday, and then so I think election day is the 7th and November 8th, and then so the 6th, I think, one of those days. And then so it was his birthday the 9th, and then on the 16th he passed away. And then the wake and all that, the burial, all that went on. And then months later, I get a call. It was after the holidays. I get a call from his girlfriend, and we were talking on the phone, and she missed Miles, and I missed Miles. I was talking on the phone, and then I remembered what you said to me about the dinosaur, and I said, I had a reading with my cousin, and she mentioned a dinosaur, and all of a sudden she went, oh, the dinosaur! Miles wanted to give you that dinosaur, and he kept saying, the whole next day, I wanted to give that dinosaur to my father, and I forgot to give it to him. And I go, what are you talking about? She goes, you still got that jacket? And I say, yeah. She goes, did you ever check the pockets in that jacket? I go, no. She goes, go check the pockets in the jacket. I get up, and I go into the closet, and I put my hand in the vest pocket of the jacket, and as sure as I'm sitting here, there was a little dinosaur in that vest pocket.
Wow.
of that jacket, of the black jacket, just like you said in the reading. It's surrounded by black. It's a black leather jacket, black lining, black pocket. And she said, Miles wanted to make sure you had that dinosaur. He was really upset that he forgot that to give it to you when he seen you that day. And I have it. And if we were on Zoom or something, I could show it to you. I have it next to Miles's picture, that dinosaur.
Wow, you have to send a picture. I'll put it as a thumbnail.
Yeah.
Wow. He's so present, your son. And
it was a powerful presence after he passed.
But you're willing to know he's there too. I'm terrible with phrases, but it goes. She was elated about that dinosaur, and the only reason why I reminded her because of that reading, you know. Wow. Wow, he's so good, your son. We got lots of stories, John. We really do.
Yeah, that's just.
This is just
the beginning. You guys gotta let those stories.
I was saying, I think we'll wrap this one up because this is just the tip of the iceberg. Woo! Oh my, we're gonna
never ask a storyteller to tell a story because you're gonna start hearing stories.
No, that's what we're here for.
Stories, and I got a basket full of them.
Yeah, you know? I think this is what we're here for.
A lot of stories.
Yeah, we do. And we'll keep documenting them.
All right,
so we'll wrap this one up, and we'll pass this on to the kids, and we hope this can help some people.
Yeah, I think so.
And we'll see you guys on the next one. All right, everyone, take care.
Everybody, take it easy.
All right, bye.
Peace and love your way. Bye.